Hello, everyone. Welcome to this lecture on sport and social mobility. I want to talk about the idea embraced by some people that student athletes earn scholarship money to pay their way through college. As you know, schools within the National Collegiate Athletic Association, known as the NCAA, fall into one of three categories: Division I, Division II, and Division III. Currently, there are 1,098 schools that have membership in the NCAA, 350 in Division I, 310 in Division II, and Division III is the largest with 438 members. According to the NCAA website, Division I and II schools provide more than $2.9 billion in athletic scholarships each year to more than 150,000 student athletes. Division III schools do not offer athletic scholarships. Contrary to what some people believe, athletic scholarships often do not provide enough money to graduate with a debt-free degree. Not all student athletes receive scholarships. Among Division II schools, 60% of student athletes receive athletics aid, and among Division I schools, 57% of student athletes receive athletics aid. One of the big reasons why making the team does not always translate into scholarship money is that the NCAA restricts the number of scholarships that schools can award, depending on the type of sport and the division. The NCAA breaks sports down into two categories: head count sports and equivalency sports. Students offered a scholarship to play a head count sport receive a full scholarship, while students who play an equivalency sport might receive only a partial scholarship. An athlete awarded a scholarship to play a head count sport always gets a full ride. An athlete awarded a scholarship to play an equivalency sport might be assigned a full scholarship, but usually only a partial scholarship. Head count sports only appear in Division I. They include men's and women's basketball, football at some schools, but not all, women's gymnastics, and tennis and volleyball. All of the other Division I sports and all of the Division II sports are known as equivalency sports, which means that most of the student athletes in those sports will be awarded a partial scholarship. To illustrate, Francis Marion University is a Division II school. According to NCAA rules, Francis Marion can offer only 8 volleyball scholarships. However, there are 17 volleyball players listed on the team roster. The coach has the option of awarding 8 of the 17 players a full ride, which would amount to approximately $25,000 per academic year at FMU to cover expenses. However, rather than assigning the full scholarship amount to just 8 students, the coach will usually divide the scholarships among all of the student athletes so that each one gets approximately half of the full ride, 8 divided by 17, or maybe the coach will assign a full scholarship to one of the outstanding student athletes and divide the remaining 7 scholarships among the 16 other players. There are numerous scenarios with equivalency sports, depending on the discretion of the coach. If Francis Marion was a Division I school, they would be allowed 12 volleyball scholarships, but each one must be a full ride, meaning that a volleyball team with 17 players would have 9 of them having no athletic scholarship whatsoever. Of course, student athletes, like all other students, can apply for other types of aid. To put scholarships money in perspective, you can begin to see why only about 1% of student athletes receive a full ride that covers the cost of tuition, room and board, texts, books, and other course-related fees. It's a myth and not a reality that sport provides a free college education. A student who works part-time throughout the school year has the potential to earn more money than most student athletes receive who spend 30-plus hours a week practicing and playing their sport during the season, and maybe spending additional hours preparing to play in the off-season. Does sport have the potential to promote social mobility? The popular position of many individuals and groups seems to be that it does. You could probably name a Hollywood film that showcases how participating in sports can help a young athlete achieve a better quality of life, higher education, or a professional sports career. I can think of The Blind Side and Rudy as two examples of such films, and there are many others. Of course, there are instances of people who climb the social class ladder through participating in sports, but these cases fit more into the category of misconception rather than reality. A misconception, sometimes referred to as a myth, is a popular belief grounded in everyday wisdom, while reality refers to the state of things as they actually exist, based on scientific evidence. How myths arise is unclear, and it represents a fascinating topic in and of itself. Australian psychologist Dr. Ulrich Ecker studies the science of misinformation and argues that myth-making is a normal cognitive process that emerges when dealing with the complexity of the social world. We conserve precious cognitive resources by turning to what's familiar to us, instead of spending time critically analyzing information. We ask ourselves, how does this information fit in with what I already believe? Or what do others believe? Or what is relevant to me, my peers, and my friends? Sociologists in the tradition of Emile Durkheim take a different perspective and argue that myths reinforce important cultural values. For example, beliefs about sport and upward social mobility reinforce the importance of meritocracy, that is, the social advancement that depends on ability and effort. Shared beliefs about meritocracy help to unify people, and they support capitalism. Perhaps myths bring us closer to understanding ourselves and society, but they also steer us away from making informed choices about our lives and the lives of others.